Jaya Tulsi Maharani Jaya Vrida Devi Jaya Tulsi Maharani Jaya Vrida Devi Jaya Vrida Devi Jaya Tulsi Maharani Jaya Vrida Devi Jaya Vrida Jaya Vrida Jaya Vrida Jaya Vrida Tulsi Maharani ki jai.
We offer our most respectful obeisances unto all Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who are just like desire trees, who can fulfill the desires of everyone, and they are full of compassion for the fallen, conditioned soul. Jai. Panchakopa Turvyascha, Kripa Sindhu Vyaycha, Patitanam Pavnebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha.
No, Ishwar Chaitanya, where's the other, the HDMI cable for the?
It's here. Oh, no,
Someone unplugged it.
someone.
Unplugged it.
Oh my God. Can you find it? You just need the other HDMI.
You're really sad if I can't show this.
Yeah.
It's like the cable's got enough more to it?
This, no. This cable's not here.
It's just not there.
Yeah, this is not here.
So
Unless you sit right here, somehow or other, plug it right from this thing here too.
I can move. I am
You gotta
ambulatory.
move all this stuff out of here.
I can use TVs and things.
Oh, what can we do?
Oh, here's an HDMI.
Oh, you found it?
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna just relocate it.
You got, just untangle it. So untangle it.
Great, thank you, Ishwar. Glad you are here. Okay.
All right, it's working.
Cool. Very cool. Oops. Wasn't what I wanted to do. I'm surprised anybody's here.
We're all locals.
Also, it's not so slippery out yet. We have a couple non-locals. Can you walk here, or you have to drive? You could, no, not you. I told him not to drive tomorrow. Please don't drive tomorrow, okay? Please. We like you. Advaita Acharya Ki Jai. What's today's date? 25th? Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yasodana Yamuna Tiravanachari. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Asatara Satyashri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Shri Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadigor Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gogopinath Shai Mukunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dhama Ki Jai. Mathura Dhama Ki Jai. Navadvip Mayapur Dhama Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dhama Ki Jai. Gangamaya Jamuna Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvase Sunyavadi Paskatyade Sitarane Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadvadutam Parijana Sahita Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Panchakalpatrubhyascha Kripasindhavyabacha Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavegvi Namo Namaha Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrinda. So January 25th, 2026 in New Goloka, Hillsborough, North Carolina. Today is the appearance day of Advaita Acharya. And we're pulling from sections here from Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela, chapters 6 and 12. So we're looking at Advaita Chandra as the cause of creation, as the teacher of bhakti, that he called for the Lord and his mood of a servant. And then we're going to look at 4 of his wonderful followers and some Leela related to them. So, Advaita Chandra as the cause of creation. So, Mahavishnu, it says in Adi 6.7, he performs all the functions for the creation, and Sri Advaita Acharya is his direct incarnation. So Advaita Acharya is considered, is understood to be a Kshirodakashayi Vishnu who lies in the ocean of milk. So Mahavishnu is breathing out all the universes through his pores, and then he expands and goes into each universe as Kshirodakashayi Vishnu. So in Adi 6:16 to 17 says that Lord Vishnu himself is the efficient or nimitta cause of the material world, and Narayana in the form of Sri Advaita is the material cause, Upadana. Lord Vishnu in his efficient aspect glances over the material energy, and Sri Advaita as the material cause creates the material world. So Mahavishnu is from a distance. He's glancing, he's breathing out. Advaita Acharya is more directly there, manifesting all of the different elements, the planets which are in the lotus stem of Lord Brahma. Of course, we might say that this is a fantastical description, right? Someone will say, well, this must be mythology because it's fantastic. Some humongous, beautiful blue person with 4 arms having a lotus stem coming out of their navel and manifesting the planets in the lotus stem and so forth. But as I've discussed before, every creation story, even if it's by atheistic scientists, has some fantastic, supernatural, unbelievable element to it. So if the scientists say everything came from a chunk that was infinitely dense and infinitely small, that in and of itself is inconceivable. How do you have a chunk that's infinitesimal and infinitely dense, and then it just randomly explodes? Well, that's also inconceivable. And then this random explosion creates all the universe with its galaxies and solar systems and planets all in perfect orbits. That's really stretches credulity. I mean, I don't think any of us have ever witnessed an explosion that creates order. Explosions create disorder. Right? If you've ever made the mistake of putting hot liquids in a blender, your resulting explosion created disorder, not order. We used to have a Radio Ram show where they were having as a joke saying, new construction company. We put all the items for construction in your lot and then some dynamite and we blow it up and there's your house. So this is obvious, you know, there's just no way to get away from something supernatural when it comes to creation. So Adi 621 says, Advaita Acharya is the creator of millions and millions of universes, and by his expansions, he maintains each and every universe. As Kunti says, you are the form of the universe, and you are the personality of the universe, you are the form of the universe, and you are the soul of the universe. So that is Advaita Acharya. But he comes not as God, he comes as a teacher of bhakti. Because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is coming as his exemplary devotee, as a teacher of bhakti, and therefore Advaita Acharya, Lord Nityananda, they're also taking these positions, which is why he's called Acharya, that he's teaching us how to perform bhakti. Who is going to be a greater teacher of bhakti than the Lord? So in Adi 627, it said that he created all the universes, now he descends to teach the path of bhakti. Now he comes to teach how do we, yes, I know who's in that picture. Now he's coming, but not everyone's going to know. If I show it all over the world, not everyone's going to know it's you. So he's coming to show us how to approach him. Right? How is it done? It's one thing to read theoretically, this is the process to approach God, and then it's another thing to see it in practice. We get an example how it's done. Prabhupada says example is better than precept, and that can be understood in many, many ways, but one of them is when show me how it's done. What does it look like? Mm-hmm. So also as a teacher of bhakti, as in Adi 634 to 65, it's explained that he worshipped the Lord, he worshipped Shalagram with tulsi leaves and Ganga water, and he called, please come, please come. It's interesting, of course, that Advaita Acharya, who's also Vishnu Tattva, he didn't feel that he was sufficient to bring people to Vraj Bhakti. He felt, I have to have the Lord himself, the original avatari has to come. I mean, it's interesting because really there's no difference between Krishna and any of his incarnations. You can't really say, right? Diparcharevi hi dasantarma bhipetyam, dipayateva ritahetu samanadharmam. One candle lights another, they're all equal. All the Vishnu forms are equal. They don't manifest all the qualities of Krishna, but they have them. But still, this is the mood. Advaita Acharya's mood is, I can't do this. I'm in the mood of Narayana. I can't, and the Creator, I can't manifest Vraj Bhakti, and that's what's needed. So you please come, you please come. The world is falling apart. By the way, the world falls apart over and over and over and over and over again. Kind of like we have to bathe every day. We can't say, well, I bathed yesterday. Or I cleaned my house last month, I don't have to clean it again. It doesn't work like that. One has to keep maintaining things. Right? Just creation is not enough. And so it's like this in the world. The law of entropy also applies to religion, that it tends to degrade and it has to keep being purified, it has to keep being restored over and over and over. In our Sampradaya, we found, like at the time of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, things had become disordered. And again, he restored them. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati had to also restore things. And Srila Prabhupada also had to restore things. One devotee was saying in a class how we have to make sure things don't get watered down in our Hare Krishna movement. And some other people were criticizing him and saying, how can you say things can get watered down? And I was asked to get involved. And I said, well, Prabhupada says things can get watered down. I said, if we care about not watering things down, that's not a criticism, but it's a helping Srila Prabhupada to keep things pure. It's our assistance to him to make sure that we maintain the purity of his movement. And this is the mood, also part of the teacher of bhakti that's being shown by Advaita Acharya. And Lord Chaitanya heard Advaita Acharya's prayer, and he said, yes, I am very pleased with you. What benediction would you like? So Radhika Raman Prabhu did about a year ago an analysis of talking to the Lord, and generally the form is that after you first offer obeisances, you glorify the Lord, and then you ask for something. Even though the something you might ask for is, let me just be devoted to you. But you ask for something. Like when Prahlad Maharaj refused to ask for anything, Nrsingadev said, well, it's my pastime to give benedictions. I have to give you something. Right? So what did Advaitacharya ask for? This is from Chaitanya Bhagavat, Madhya Lila 6.167. He said, my only request is that you distribute love of God even to women, laborers, and the ignorant fools as well. So give Krishna Prema to everyone without distinction. And thinking that Advaitacharya is a disciple of Madhavendra Puri, Lord Chaitanya obeys him, respecting him as his spiritual master. He's thinking, well, Advaitacharya, he's a god brother of my guru, so I'm going to respect him as my guru. So Lord Chaitanya bows down at the feet of Advaitacharya with reverential prayers and devotion. That's from C.C. Adi 640-43. But Advaitacharya doesn't like this. So generally we see that the parental rasa and the servant rasa, they're kind of in opposition. And Srila Rupa Goswami says that when they appear in the same person, they have to appear at different times. Like a particular person might sometimes feel parental and sometimes feel friendship and sometimes feel servitude. You have this situation with Yudhisthira Maharaj, who's primarily in the mood of friendship, but because he's a little older than Krishna, he sometimes feels a little parental, and sometimes he takes the role of a servant, but not all at the same time, because these moods are opposed to each other. And the example I always give is if you go to a restaurant and you say, I want some ice cream, the wait person there doesn't say, well, did you finish your main course yet? Or you look like you look a little overweight, maybe you shouldn't be eating ice cream. You know, that would be really, it would be incompatible with the mood of being a waiter or a waitress. But with your parents, you know, like I was feeding the boys the other day while Padma was setting up the generator. And so I said, you've got to have your soup and your salad and your bread, and then you can have some cake. You've got to finish all the make, because that's the parental mood. So Advaitacharya, by social etiquette, he's older than Lord Chaitanya, considerably older. He's the god brother of Lord Chaitanya's guru, so he should be in parental mood, but he's not. He's actually in the mood of a servant. And he forgets himself, and he teaches everyone should become a servant. So in Adi 6:44-45, it says, the conception of servitude to Krishna generates such an ocean of joy in the soul that even the joy of oneness with the Absolute, if multiplied 10 million times, cannot be compared to a drop of it. So he says, Nityananda and I are servants of Lord Chaitanya. There's nowhere is this much joy. Now, in this world, we don't like being servants. We like being masters. There's book upon book and course upon course about leadership, right? How many books and courses are there on servitorship? It wouldn't be very popular. Huh? And I always say this, I don't know of any parents who say to their children, I want you to grow up and be a servant. Nobody thinks like this. Even if the parents are servants, they're not thinking like this. But to be a servant of Krishna is wonderful. Such a nice verse, Advaitacharya says, this is from Adi 66-68. I am a servant of Lord Chaitanya. I am a servant of Lord Chaitanya. I am a servant of Lord Chaitanya. And I am a servant of his servant. And Advaitacharya starts to dance and sing. And the source of the sentiment of service is Lord Balaram. And all of the expansions of Balaram have this ecstasy. Chaitanya Radhasa Muni, Chaitanya Radhas, Chaitanya Radhasa Muni. Tanra Dasyara Dasa. I am a servant of Lord Chaitanya, I am a servant of Lord Chaitanya, I am a servant of Lord Chaitanya, and I am a servant of his servant. So he's teaching us that this is the essence of bhakti. And in one sense, this mood of servitude pervades all of the rasas. Because even parents, we're saying how the parents are opposite, but parents are serving their children. You know? Definitely parents serve their children. There's no question of that. And friends serve each other. And husband and wife serve each other. Right? I mean, of course, neutrality is kind of interesting because in neutrality, there's no sense of service in the sense that Krishna doesn't need my service. They're not thinking like that. But still, there's anubhavs that are doing things for the Lord, glorifying the Lord, preaching about the Lord, so forth. Okay, we want to look now at some of the followers of Advaitacharya, which each of these has some special significance for us. So in Adi 12, 8-9, it says that first all of the followers of Advaitacharya had a single opinion, but later they followed two different opinions as ordained by providence. Some disciples strictly accepted the orders of the Acharya, and others deviated, independently concocting their own opinions under the spell of Daivi Maya. So this happens. This happens. It happens even with the children of God. It happens in every system of religion, in every religious organization, every spiritual tradition, that some people will deviate. It just is. You know, there's nothing that one can do, even if you're children of God, there's nothing you can do that will absolutely prevent deviations. You have to have a system for how to deal with them, but you can't 100% prevent them. So we have a whole discussion in Chaitanya Charitamrita about the branches of the Chaitanya tree, and it's quite, we could speak on this at length, but I'm not going to do that today. So there's many, many branches that are all bona fide, although they're all a little different. Just like in any tree, you'll not find even two leaves the same, what to speak of two branches the same, but they're all coming from the same tree, and they're all bearing the same fruit. Like Srila Prabhupada told Siddha Sarup in the 1974 or 5, I think, who wanted to start his own organization. Prabhupada said, yes, a tree is beautiful if it has many branches, but make sure the fruit tastes the same. So we accept that there's many branches. I mean, there's 4 Vaishnava Sampradayas, which we all accept, and we accept that there's many branches of the Chaitanya tree. Just like I've been to Manipur, where you have Gaudiya Vaishnavas have been there from the time of Narottama Das Thakur. They're followers of Narottama Das Thakur, and it's a little different. Their kirtan style is a little different. They play conch shells as musical instruments during the kirtan. Their tilak is a little different. Traditionally they have traveling kirtan parties of ladies, all ladies, that go from one temple to another, and the devotees there give them donations of money and cloth, and the whole government used to be a Gaudiya Vaishnava government. When I was there, they did a drama of the government history connected with Gaudiya Vaishnavism. But it's a little different flavor. And Prabhupada told my godbrother Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj, you take this Manipuri culture all over the world, right? Or you go to places in Vrindavan and you have followers of Shyamananda Pandit, which again, they were a little different tilak because of the tilak given by Srimati Radharani and so forth. So there's many bona fide branches, and then there's also deviants. So it's not that another branch is necessarily deviant, but there are deviants, and then there are also a multiplicity of branches. And it is very important for the acharyas to distinguish between these. What is a bona fide branch and what is actually deviant? And Prabhupada, actually it says here in 1210, the order of the spiritual master is the active principle. Anyone who disobeys the order of the spiritual master immediately becomes useless. So that's the litmus test. Are you actually following? Maybe one branch is going to focus on cow protection. Maybe another branch is going to focus on Harinam Sankirtan. Maybe another branch is going to focus on studying the Bhagavatam. Now, we see this in different areas. Yes, some other branch may focus on, okay, we're going to be preaching to college students, but everyone has to follow the orders of the spiritual master. Otherwise, you're cut off. There's no nutrients going through your branch, or there's no electricity going through the wire. So now we're going to look at some of the bona fide followers of Advaitacharya. So we have Achyutananda, one son of Advaitacharya, very, very famous son. And there was such a nice exchange between Achyutananda and Advaitacharya when Achyutananda was just a little boy. And he said, who is the guru of Lord Chaitanya? So when the Lord comes, he has to set an example. Yadyaritarati Shrestас, he sets an example of how to behave. How are we going to know that we need a guru if the Lord doesn't accept a guru? Someone will say, well, Lord Chaitanya didn't accept a guru. And so he accepted Ishwara Puri, and Keshava Bharati as his spiritual masters. But when Achyutananda heard this from his father, he got very angry as a little child, and he said, no, this is wrong. This is wrong. Lord Chaitanya is the spiritual master of the 14 worlds. He's everyone's spiritual master. How can anyone else be his spiritual master? This is bogus. It's not in the Shastra. And Advaita Acharya was actually very happy to hear this. He's like, yes, you actually understand the real position. Like it's explained that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he whispered the mantra, the sannyas mantra, into the ear of Keshava Bharati and said, is this the right mantra to give me? So he gives the mantra first to his guru, who gives it to him. Or as Prabhupada often explains with Krishna and Sandipani Muni, that the cloud takes water from the ocean and pours it back again. So the so-called guru of God is taking the knowledge from Krishna and giving it back. And this is to set an example, and also for enjoyment, of course. Krishna enjoys this relationship with those who take the role of being his teachers. Then he also had another son, Krishna, Misra. And in Adi 12:18, it says that Lord Chaitanya always was sitting in his heart. Prabhupada talks about having spiritual television. So Krishna Misra had this always awareness of the Lord in his mood of Lord Chaitanya in his heart. Then we want to look at Sri Gopal. So this is in Adi 12:19 through 26. So this is when Lord Chaitanya, he's cleaning the Gundicha Mandira in Jagannath Puri. So we know that the Rath Yatra cart, it goes from the main Jagannath temple to the Gundicha temple. And the Gundicha temple is there as Vrindavan, that the Lord is going from, basically from Dwarka to Vrindavan. And this temple's not used during the year, so it gets extremely dirty. And therefore, as part of the festivities is this cleaning of the temple. And Gopal was dancing there with great love and happiness. Just thinking, you know, there's religions in the world that prohibit dancing. Right? That if you dance, then you can be arrested, like literally. But we have that the joy of love of God manifests naturally in dancing. And while Lord Chaitanya and Advaita Prabhu chanted the Hare Krishna mantra and dance, there were various ecstatic symptoms in their bodies. So these are called the sattvika bhavs, that they manifest spontaneously. That someone may cry, or shiver, or their hair stand on end, or they may become stunned, or they may change color, or they may faint. And these all things happen involuntarily when the basic love for God mixes with some stimulus. Then it produces a state in the heart called sattva. This is not sattva gun. But you can think of materially, like if you're friends with someone and you're hanging around your friends and you're having a good time, you get a feeling in your heart of warmth and love for that person, right? Everyone experiences this. So when this happens transcendentally, when this happens in the heart, it produces two effects. One are the anubhavas, that one wants to dance. One wants to express one's feeling. Prabhupada says this gives great transcendental relief to express one's feelings, one's spiritual feelings. And then there's also these involuntary expressions. So this was happening with Lord Chaitanya and Advaita Acharya. But then Gopal, he was dancing and dancing, he fainted. Now, of course, fainting is also a sattvika bhav. But Gopal fainted, and everybody was worried that he was going to die. We think of when Mahaprabhu, when he first came to see Lord Jagannath, he also fainted in front of Jagannath, and everybody was worried. They were worried that he had died. Right? Then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and he put a little cotton in front of Mahaprabhu's nostrils and saw that he was breathing a little bit. So Advaita Acharya Prabhu was very unhappy that his child had fainted. So he took his son on his lap and he began to chant Nisinga mantras for his protection. So this is such an incredible lila, because Nisinga and Advaita Acharya, they're the same person, but they're in this mood. You know, it's wonderful and inconceivable. I mean, we all have different moods, right? And sometimes we talk to ourselves, and sometimes we debate with ourselves. Yes, everyone does this, not just me. So we think, okay, Urmila, do I want to do this? Well, maybe I should do that. I don't know. Should I do this first? Should I do this first? What about this? Well, what about this? Right? But just, if you were expanded as another person, and to talk to yourself, or to pray to yourself, or to chant mantras to yourself in a different mood, it's really just completely mind-blowing how the Lord has these different relationships with himself. So Advaitacharya is chanting this Nrsimha mantra, and he chanted all various mantras, but Gopal did not come to consciousness, and all of the Vaishnavas there started crying. Again, we have many similar examples with Lord Chaitanya himself, where he faints in ecstasy, and the devotees are trying to revive him in many ways. Right? We have one time where he was captured by a fisherman who thought he was a corpse, and the devotees were reviving him. So then Lord Chaitanya put his hand on the head, on the chest, of Gopal, and said, "My dear Gopal, get up and chant the holy name of the Lord." And when Gopal heard this sound and felt the touch of the Lord, he immediately got up, and all the Vaishnavas chanted the Hare Krishna mantra in great happiness. So then we have a very interesting story of Kamalakanta Vishwas. This is from Adi 12:28 to 54. So he was Advaitacharya's servant. He was a very confidential servant, and he knew what was going on with Advaitacharya's money. And so he was concerned that Advaitacharya was in debt. And he felt, Advaitacharya can't pay back this money, let me see if I can help him. So we generally do this sort of thing for our friends, right? You find out one of your friends needs a medical procedure or this or that, and they can't pay for it, and so you go to someone who has money, or you do a GoFundMe nowadays, right? And you say, please give some money for my friend so they can, like when Kamalini's car was swallowed by the flood, please buy Kamalini a new car. Or I remember many years ago, we had a fundraiser to fix Bhattu Gopal Prabhu's teeth. And, things like this. So this is very common as being done. And he sent a message to the king. He sent a message to Maharaj Prataparudra, who obviously had a lot of money at his disposal. And he said, Advaitacharya is in debt, my master is in debt, so will you please pay the debt? Now, somehow or other, this note came to the attention of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So what was interesting in this note is the note said, Advaitacharya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he's in debt. Now this kind of situation is discussed extensively in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. The class I was hearing from Srila Prabhupada this morning, it was given in Vrindavan. It was a Bhagavatam class on the 7th canto. And he was saying how you must study Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Nectar Devotion, otherwise, in order to understand the Bhagavatam. He was emphasizing this over and over again, which I thought was really sweet. So one of the things that Srila Rupa Goswami brings up is incompatibility of rasas. And when you have an incompatibility of rasas, instead of getting rasa, you get a ras abas. So we can think of this like with food. I'm sure we've all had this experience at a feast. You're standing in line with your plate, and somebody puts a gulab jamun on top of your sabji, right? Everyone's had this experience. They put sweet rice on top of your bitter melon, and then you can't get any rasa. You get a ras abas. I was in a temple where, for convenience sake, they just merged all the Mahaprasadam together and was serving it out, and I said, this is against the instruction of Srila Rupa Goswami. You're mixing all these different rasas, and people are going to get a ras abas. So this is an improper mixing of rasas. To say that you're God, yes, you're God, but you have a debt. So Lord Chaitanya was not exactly very happy about this. He says, how is this possible? This is not proper mixing. And he told his servant Govinda, he said, you're making the Lord a poverty-stricken beggar. He said, Govinda, you tell him that Kamalakanta Vishvasi can never come and see me again. Someone who's has this philosophical problem, this rasa problem. But he was smiling when he said that. And when Kamalakanta Vishvas heard about this punishment, he was really unhappy. I think we'd all be unhappy, right? Right? If Maharaj said, "You're messing up the philosophy, you can never come to the temple again," we'd be like, "Oh my God, what am I going to do? My life is over." But Advaitacharya was very happy. And he said to his servant, he said, "You're very fortunate to be punished by the Supreme Lord. When I was chastised by Lord Chaitanya for teaching about liberation as the ultimate goal, I was very happy, and a similar punishment was awarded to Mother Sachi Devi. Who could be more fortunate?" Because Advaitacharya is in this mood of being a servant. If you're actually intimate with someone, they can correct you. If somebody doesn't want to correct you, there's a lack of intimacy and trust going on. Does that make sense to everybody? Right? Like the other day, I was around someone who said something really outrageous, and I'm thinking, if I were to correct this person, they would just become angry. They wouldn't accept it. So that's a lack of intimacy and trust. So Advaitacharya is saying, if you can get corrected, that shows that the Lord trusts you. The Lord has an intimate relationship with you. Advaitacharya then went to Lord Chaitanya and he says, "You've shown a really great favor to Kamalakanta. You've never shown me such favor. How have I offended you that you will not correct me, that you're treating me with reverence?" So then Lord Chaitanya, he laughed. And he was very happy and immediately called for Kamalakanta Vishvas. And he immediately called him back. He said, okay, you can come back. And then Advaitacharya said, "Why have you called this man back and allowed him to see you? Now you've cheated me twice. You've cheated me in your intimacy of punishing him, and you've cheated me in your intimacy of calling him back." And Lord Chaitanya was very happy. And Lord Chaitanya instructed Kamalakanta. He said, don't damage Advaitacharya's religious principles. He says, if a guru accepts money or grains from materialists, his mind will become polluted. So he's also saying, don't have him take money from the king. He said, when one's mind is polluted, it's very difficult to remember Krishna, and when remembrance of Krishna is hampered, one's life is unproductive. Thus, one becomes unpopular in the eyes of the people in general, for this damages his religiosity and fame. A Vaishnava, especially one who acts as a spiritual master, must not act in such a way. One should always be conscious of this fact. Of course, Prabhupada would take money from materialistic people to use in the movement, but he did say that one should be very careful. We don't want to be beholden to people who can then manipulate us financially. It's actually a very important principle. Okay, so we looked at Advaitacharya as the cause of creation, the teacher of bhakti, and that he called for the Lord, that he had a mood of a servant, and we looked at his followers, Achyutananda, Krishna Misra, Sri Gopal, and Kamalakanta Vishvasa. We have a couple minutes, questions, comments, additions, subtractions. I was thinking of all the other pastimes I could have told about Advaitacharya.
Yeah, a question specifically about that. You mentioned that some of the followers, three sons of Advaitacharya, were rejected because they deviated.
Yes.
So, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur mentioned the different types of deviant Vaishnava sects.
Yes.
Regard. And particularly, well, hopefully it's not good, but I always say it.
It is, I'm sure.
I've seen a resurgence of the Smarta conception.
Yes. Yes. So Maharaj is talking about the different kinds of deviations that happened, like with the sons of Advaitacharya and that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati brought up. Yes, we definitely are seeing some deviations, like a smarta tendency, which is a kind of niyamagraha. And it's opposed to bhakti. So we are going to find this. It's going to happen. We are going to, as I said, you have to keep cleaning your house, you know? Even if you just cleaned your house yesterday, you may find something that has to be removed. This is normal, it's natural, and there are going to be deviations, which is one of the reasons why it's good for us on a personal level to associate with devotees. so that when we get off track, that somebody can say, hey, you're off track. And if we're going to say, well, I'm just going to do what I want to do, and I'm not going to follow the senior Vaishnavas, and I'm not going to allow myself to be corrected, then we can also deviate. I like my godbrother Vaiseshika Prabhu says, I live to be corrected. Advaita Charya ki jai. Advaita Charya ki jai. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Let them go their own way. Let them get their own properties, and let them get their own money, and let them do what they want with their own properties and their own money.
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Kanvandam Maravindadalayatakam Varhavatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam Kandar Agom Vikamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasa Sakalem Priti manti Vasyanti panti kayanti Chiram naganti Ananda chinmaya sadhu Jala vigrahasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham
Chaitanya Prabhu Jaya Koramore. Toma bina ke daya jagat samsare. Patita pa vana hetu Tavavatara Mokshama Patita Prabhu Napaiveara Prabhu Napaiveara Hakha Prabhu Nityananda Premananda Sukhi Kripa Balakan Akoraho Ami Borotoki Doya Koro Sitapati Advaita Gosakai Tavakripa Molepai Chaitanya Nitarakai Hak Swarup Sanna Tanna Uparagunagat Bhatta Yoga Shijiva Prabhulokanat Daya Koro Shiakarya Prabhu Srinivas Ramachandra Sangagmage Narottama Dakas Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Doya Koro More 고마비나 개다야로군 자격점 사레게 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hey Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Golokana Radha Golokana Radha. Jaya Radha Golokana Radha Golokana Radha. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Radhe, Jaya Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Paramahansa also Teta Sutashi Shimad, His Divine Grace Abhaya Charana Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, ISKCON founder Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Devotee Vaishnava Friend Ki Jai, Namacharya Haridas Thakur, Friend say O Sri Krishna, Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri you must go over. Friend Ki Jai, Radha Krishna, Shine Kunda Radha Kunda, Giri Govardhan, Vrindavan Ki Jai, Maturan Ki Jai, Swami Ki Jai, Yamunai Ki Jai, Srinivasadev Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai, Go Premananda Hari, all glories to some of the Lord, all glories to some of the Lord, all glories to some of the Lord. All glories to Shri Guru Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. I'll read the translation. First, the song by Narottam Das Thakur. My dear Lord, please be merciful to me, because who could be more merciful than your lordships within these three worlds? Your incarnation is just to reclaim the conditioned soul, fallen souls, but I assure you that you will not find a more fallen soul than me. Therefore, my claim is first. My dear Lord Nityananda, you are always joyful in spiritual bliss. Since you always appear very happy, I have come to you because I am most unhappy. If you kindly put your glance over me, I may also become happy. My dear Advaita Prabhu, husband of Sita, you are so kind. Please be kind to me. If you are kind to me, naturally, Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda will also be kind to me. I pray for the mercy of Swarup Damodar, the six Goswamis, namely Shri Rupa Goswami, Shri Sanatana Goswami, Shri Bhakti Raghunath Goswami, Shri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, Shri Jiva Goswami, and Shri Raghunath Das Goswami, and Lokanath Prabhu. I, Narottam Das, pray for the merciful Srinivasacharya, and I always desire the company of Ramchandra. So, Jaito Darpanamarshanam, Baba Mahadvadi Nirvapanam, Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vicharanam, Vidyavad Jivanam, Anandam Murivardhanam, Prakadam Pranamada Swaranam, Stavatmananam Pranjayate Krishnaskirtanam, Namah Bhari Bharati Sarvashakti, Tadarapita Nimata Smarane Kala, Etadrishita Vakripa Bhagavan Mamapi, Duradaiva Drishanihan Nidana Raga, Trinada Peace Unichena, Tarohiva Sahishnana, Amani Manadena, Kirtaniya Sadahare, Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim, Kavidam Bhagavadisha Kamaye, Mama Janmani Janmani Shrele, Bhavtad Bhakti Radhai Tiki Twaye, Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram, Patamam Vishame Bhavam Buddho, Kripayat Avapat Pankajas, Tita Duli Sadrasam Vichinteha, Nayalam Gal.